Good morning. I'm Jody
Morning.
Coughlin, and this is Stephanie Burns.
Nice to finally meet you.
Hi, yeah.
And we have been longtime fans. So
Oh, cool. Thank you.
we're excited to get to chat with you. What was your first entrepreneurial endeavor? What was the first thing you did?
Well, I sold rocks to my parents when I was really young. That was my only buyer. But besides that, the first thing I did was start a web design business where I made websites for locals.
And so where were you at your life when you got that started?
I was living in Chicago. I was probably 22 years old. I had one job as a designer. So junior designer is the highest level in the career ladder that I've ever achieved. I was a junior designer, and I decided I wanted to do my own thing. I got a little bored just doing design. I really liked actually interfacing with the clients, which you're not allowed to do as a designer in an agency setting, and I wanted to do more with my time than just design. So I figured if I designed and ran a business, that would be something that I would enjoy more, and it was.
Right. And so what got you over and it could just be your youth at that point, what got you over the kind of fear of going out on your own at that point in time? Because that's kind of rare at that age to say, I'm going to go for it and do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the good thing about being young for me was, I had a very low cost of living. It's not like I had a family to support. I just had to feed myself. And as long as I could feed myself, then that's all I really needed to do. And I knew that, the great thing about web design, I often tell people when they're starting out, it's great to find a service that you can do like that, kind of more of a freelance type of business. I think is a great stepping stone to maybe building something larger, because as a designer, you just need one client and you're in business, and you get paid half up front. So I thought, okay, well, if I can't find one single client in all of Chicago, that's not very good. I thought I could find at least one, and I did.
What can you tell us about your tipping point from where you were like, I'm just going to try this and see if it works, to, I don't know, maybe when you started the Dash or whatever came first, where you really thought, you know what, I've got something good here, I'm going to be successful?
So, well, I guess I should talk about, I transitioned from the web design business to the business that I have now, and the business that I have now is a social media training business. And I think a big tipping point for me, so I had done web design, I didn't want to do it anymore, I wanted a new business model, and I wanted to do something around social media. And at first I was doing social media consulting, like bigger contracts with bigger companies, and it wasn't really working out. I had a really hard time getting the contracts. And then I discovered this whole model of online training, and it sounded great. I decided to give it a shot, and the first product I ever did, which was actually my Backstage Pass to Twitter product, I always tell this story and I don't know the exact number, so I have to look it up, but made about $3,000, the first online training program I ever did. And I thought, wow, I used to spend months trying to chase down one contract to get $3,000. This is cool. And I just really saw that was the model for me. That was the model that I was going to be successful in.
So you have the Dash, you have the Rich, Hot, and Happy Bee School with Marie Forleo, which I'm a recent graduate of, so I loved it, by the way. How do you balance all of this? I mean, what's your strategy?
What's funny is when I started my business and it was just me, I was so self-conscious about just being one person that I would always try to pretend that I had a bigger business. And now that I have a bigger business, people always think that it's just me, just sort of in how I brand. I feel like it's almost the opposite, where now I'm almost tricking people into thinking that it's just me. But it's not just me. I have a team of 5 people besides me, and I think that's really important for people to know, because people sometimes look at what I do and they think, how do you get all this done? And I'm like, I don't. I don't get all this done. There's a lot of people that contribute to this. So there's definitely a whole team of people that work very hard, because we have a big business at this point. We have a lot of projects. Like you said, B-School is a whole project on its own. I do a lot of content marketing, 2 blog posts a week, newsletter every week. It's a big machine to keep running, and it takes a few people to do it.
Right.
So that's a good segue into talking about how you knew it was the right time to hire an employee and what that process looked like. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think I've always been a little more open than most people are in that area, because even when I was doing web design on a really small scale, I would hire people to do the development work for me. I hired someone to assist me for a few hours a week, even in that business. So I just always see it as you have to do it to grow your business. You only have so many hours a day, and unless you're just sitting around doing nothing all day, which I know is not exactly a problem for most small business owners, your hours get full. Then you're never going to get any more. So the only way to add more hours is to add more people who also have lives that are filled with hours, right? That's the only way to get more time in your business. So to me, it's always just been very cut and dry. If I want to grow my business, if I want to do more, I want to hire more people. And I'm also very focused on the lifestyle element. I don't think there's any point in running a business just to work yourself to the grave and be miserable. So I always feel like, hey, if there's somebody else that can do something that I don't like to do, fantastic, bring it on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So what do you like to do in your spare time that keeps you from burning out? Do you do yoga? Do you like running? What is it that you do that kind of keeps you together?
I definitely like to work out. I used to be into yoga lately. I've been into Pilates, and I also am an impulsive Groupon buyer for workouts.
Nice.
I always see all in LA we have a lot of crazy different types of workouts, so I'll buy different weird Groupons for different kinds of workouts. I love to be outside. I go to the beach a lot. I live right by the beach, and I'm at the beach pretty much every weekend. I go hiking a lot, so I love to be outdoors.
Nice. So what would you say if you could only give one piece of advice to a brand new entrepreneur, especially a female entrepreneur? What would that be? Your golden nugget.
I think there's so much I want to tell this one entrepreneur. I think it's most important to remember that this business is yours, and you get to make the rules, and you get to decide what you want to do. I think it can get really hard when you run a business because you put so much pressure on yourself, and it's really easy to spend a lot of time feeling like you're doing it wrong, or feeling like there's something else that you should be doing instead, or this other person has figured out some smarter way to do it. But what I think is so much fun about a business is that it's up to you. You make the rules. So if you're listening to me talk and you're like, I never want to have more than one person in my business, I never want to hire anyone, I'm like, great, that's your choice, and it's your business, and you get to choose what to do. And you don't have to, people always tell me, you should do services. And I'm like, I don't want to right now. I did a services business. That's not what I'm focusing on. And it's my choice. It's a smart idea. It would make money, but it's my choice of how to spend my time. Maybe someday I'll add that on. So remember and keep faith that you're doing it right. You're not screwing it up. You get to choose to craft this business however you like.
We also work one-on-one with new entrepreneurs. We have a launch program that we work with. What would you say is the biggest benefit of having a business coach? I know you had one yourself. I believe Marie was your first, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What would you say is the biggest benefit?
I've had a few, and I think it's essential. I mean, I really do, because you have to figure these things out somehow. I mean, that's why I think, obviously my business sells training programs. That's why I think training is so important. You can't just hope that you're going to wake up one morning and know marketing and, know how to put packages together, or know how to do advertising, or know how to keep your books, or whatever. There's so much you have to learn in a business. And I remember I was talking to a client once, and she's like, I just want to get to that point where, I know how to do things, and I'm not constantly feeling like there's something new. And I said, there's always something new, because as you grow your business, there's always something totally new to learn. So it's odd to me when people, don't like coaching or don't like training, because it seems like they're just hoping that they're just going to wake up one morning. No, I mean, I really just don't even understand it. So you have to learn it somehow, right? So might as well just bite the bullet and invest some money and learn it, instead of 5 years later throwing up your hands and saying, you know what, I'm really going to have to learn how to keep my books. It's time.
Right.
My name's Laura. You can find me on Twitter at LKR, Facebook.com/GetTheDash. And yeah, like I've referenced, my business sells training programs for small businesses, primarily about social media, how to use Twitter, how to use Facebook, how to blog, how to update your site, and all that good stuff. And it's all geared towards people that are not technical, so you don't have to be a techie to have these online elements to your business.
Yeah, and I would also just add that we do read your newsletters, and there's always great tidbits of information in there. The videos are always really helpful, and it's nice to relate to somebody who's kind of in the same place in life or, you know, in the same place in business. And kind of our whole thing with Chic CEO is that we talk to our community the same way that we talk to each other. So if we're trying to figure out what an EIN is, you know, I want Stephanie to tell me in a way that makes sense. I don't want her to read it out of a book to me. So I really appreciate that about your voice as well. It's really just you speaking to your community. So hopefully all of our community and all of your community will join together, and we'll all have some really smart women out there. So
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Long-time fan. Thank you so much, Laura. It was such a pleasure to talk to you today.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.